Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again to talk about Nobody. No, I'm not here to talk about Nobody, I'm here to talk about Nobody, the movie. uh, yeah, I just saw this movie and I was gonna see two movies, but something happened. I just could not breathe in the mask anymore, and I wanted to see that and Godzilla vs. King Kong, but I just could not breathe with that mask on any longer. It was horrible. Uh, Especially after not having like a drink or anything the whole 2 hours of Nobody. So I apologize for not being able to review that movie right away. I'll probably just wait until it comes out, like with Godzilla King of the Monsters. You know, it's not that big of a loss, but yeah. Anyways, I saw Nobody, and yeah, it was pretty good. It's basically, see, I saw the trailer for this months ago, and I was never planning on seeing it because seeing the trailer, I didn't really like where it went. It really showed you everything in the trailer. Like, it showed you the big twist of the movie. It showed you that the movie was going to turn into something else that it wasn't at first. And I kind of like the idea of it being what it was in the beginning, where it was like, I won't get into spoilers because I don't want to be the jackass who spoils you. But yeah, overall, it was kind of a disposable movie. It had some great action in it. It had some great scenes in it. I really liked Bob Odenkirk. I mean, wow. It really was like seeing Bob Odenkirk like in a completely different form. And so that was really fun. That was a treat to see. And it's just so unbelievable and so cool. And then Christopher Lloyd's in it as his dad, and a few other people are in it that are good. But yeah, mostly this movie's Bob Odenkirk, aka Jimmy McGill, and Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. I don't know really what else to say. I mean, it was a dispensable movie. It it lacked completion. It's not the fact that it was too short, and it was too short, but it was the fact that it didn't feel complete. It felt like, okay, good. This movie good? Question mark. Like it, you know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like the best it could have been. The script in it lacked a completion to it. It needed more depth to what was going on. And I know obviously there's going to be some people who say, "Well, Marco, this is it's a certain type of movie, and these, it's just a popcorn movie." I don't accept that as an excuse. Okay, this movie could have been epic. Like, it could have been so good that like it would start its own franchise, like John Wick, because this came from one of the creators of John Wick, I believe, the guy who directed it, I think. And it's definitely reminiscent of John Wick. Of course, you have the part where the bad guys come to his house, which is in the trailer. You have the European guy who's the villain who, it's just, there's a lot of similarities to John Wick, and that's where it really lost me, because there were so many good elements to the movie. Like, I think that my biggest complaint with the John Wick series was that it was almost like a superhero movie. The way that he's got just infinite ammo almost in the first movie. And he's just shooting people just perfectly, just bam, 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 just running through places. And it seemed too out of reality for me. Whereas with this movie, it's down to earth. There are some, little emotional moments. I don't know, maybe if it's just because I'm soft or what, but I did feel a little emotion at certain points with Bob Odenkirk talking about his past and talking about some things. I felt a little emotion. Not that much, but yeah, it had these similarities to John Wick, which it almost felt like they either copied and pasted it, or it was like a formula, like an MCU formula type thing, where they're like, okay, this has to happen and this has to happen. Excuse me. And so I didn't like that stuff. I didn't like how the film just kind of, I don't know, it got so one-dimensional at points. And it's unfortunate because, as I said, there are elements that really work, like the down-to-earth stuff. What I mean by that is like the street level, like the fighting, like the brawling and the really hardcore. And that's another issue, though. So, so I don't know what this movie. It's sort of mixed for me. It's sort of half half good news stuff, like stuff it feels refreshing. It feels like, okay, cool, this is a new action type thing, kind of, not really. And then the other half is, oh, okay, I've seen that, okay, let's go through the motions. But yeah, overall, I still really enjoyed this movie. It was a fun throwaway movie, and I liked Bob Odenkirk in it a lot. I think that if you take Bob Odenkirk out of this movie, it would be straight to DVD quality. Like, seriously, like, even if you still had the same action, the same budget, even if you still had Christopher Lloyd, even if you still had the RZA, whatever that guy is, cameoing in it, even if you had those guys, but you didn't have Bob Odenkirk, this movie would suck. It would not be good. It would be really, really pretty lame. And so that's the issue. And so in terms of food, I really am at loss for words with this movie, because it's hard to describe a movie so mixed like this. It's almost like it's got to be some sort of like a bag of mixed things, like different kinds of things. So like a trail mix, and you know how when you were a kid you'd get trail mix, and your parents would buy you trail mix for a hike, and they'd be like, "Here's trail mix. It's gonna really do a lot of good for you." And then you just eat all the M&Ms and you don't eat any of the other stuff. The M&Ms are Bob Odenkirk and the trail mix, and everything else in this movie is just the normal trail mix stuff. So do I think that this movie is going to get a sequel? I don't think so. It really lacked depth, and it lacked a completion to the story. It felt like it was very rushed and very sort of like, okay. It really didn't feel like it. I don't know. It was weird. It was like it just ended. It was like, okay, bye. Like, it was really awkward the way that it just sort of like fizzled out. And so it was really strange. But Bob Odenkirk elevated this movie. So yeah, now on to spoilers. This movie, one of the biggest problems is that it peaked early. I mean, it peaked in the first action sequence. So basically what happens is he goes and he tracks down the people who robbed his house, and it's sort of like a twist, and he doesn't go all the way with them because they have a sick baby, I guess, and so then he gets on the bus, and there's this really cool like narration where it says, like, sometimes one door closes, so another one opens, and I really hope this one opens. And I thought that was really cool, and it's like it's just like this perfect, I don't know, like destiny, like fate for him to be on that bus, and then these gangsters come over and they take over the bus, and they get inside the bus and they're like fucking with everyone, and it's just like, you know, that Bob Odenkirk is gonna destroy them, and it's just like the anticipation of it is just really good. And then there's this really awesome action sequence where it's really like brutal. It gets really gross and violent, and you know, even violent for me a little bit. It gets really like, ooh, ugh. You know, you can feel it. And yeah, I love that sequence, that whole sequence. That was the best part of the whole movie. Everything after that is pales in comparison. Because then there's this crappy action sequence where they track him down to his house once again, and they try to kill him, or they try to take him, I should say. And it's this really shitty sequence where he's just like running around without a gun and killing all these armed people. And then I guess the sequence where he's trapped in the car is kind of cool. Kind of. And then there's another sequence where he... what's the next one? I don't know. I can't remember. But what was really cool is when he goes over his backstory again, and he talks about how he was going to kill this one guy, and then the guy promised he would quit, and so he let him go. And then he comes back and he sees that the guy's actually living a normal life. And that actually brought a little emotion to me, a little bit. And he said he wanted that for himself. That was really cool. I really liked that backstory, surprisingly. But then you get the bad guy, and he's just this over-the-top European, Russian guy. And you get the... And then the rest of the movie happens. He basically tracks down the bad guys' money, their retirement money that they've been saving up forever, and he destroys it all in this really shitty montage where they kind of show stuff, but they kind of don't. They kind of go through it really fast, as I said, like a montage. And that really pissed me off because they just like fast forward through it. I mean, they just like completely, it's like they lost the money or something. They lost the money to make the movie at that point. And it felt like an introduction to a movie rather than, I mean, this was the second to last action sequence. So, but then it ends with him going to the club and confronting the guy. And then there's this car sequence, this car chase. I thought that the car chase was actually pretty good. It just, everything after that cool bus fight was lacking. Because it wasn't as brutal. It wasn't as drawn out as that bus fight. It wasn't as real, as visceral as that bus fight. And then finally we have the cum shot warehouse action sequence, which was really not great. It was just Home Alone mixed with John Wick 1. And, yeah. It was, I mean, Christopher Lloyd shooting people with the shotgun. RZA, you know, you gotta have the friend with the sniper rifle, or I guess brother. But, I mean, like in John Wick 1, you have Willem Dafoe. Well, in this movie, you have RZA, and so it's like, okay. It's sad because it had all the ingredients. It had all the ingredients to make this realistic, hardcore 70s action movie with lots of violence. And it basically just quit after that first sequence on the bus. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. And on a side note, I was coming out of the theater to leave, and this has happened before, but it really rubbed me the wrong way, especially after I saw this movie, and what this movie deals with, the discussion of like men defending people, men defending their families, and all that crap. I get out of the theater, and there's some sort of I don't know, I didn't ever see them, but there's some sort of a mother like dragging their child, or like, I don't know, like I didn't even see what was happening, but screaming the F word at their child, and yelling at their child at the top of their lungs like they're a fucking, like a rapist or criminal or something. And like a little kid, probably, I think, like a little kid, like a little kid, that's child abuse. And I thought that was sickening. And to be honest, it's times like those where it makes me wish that we had anarchy instead of laws and law and order. Because when I see stuff like that and I hear stuff like that, it really gets to me, and makes me really uncomfortable. And nobody should be speaking to their child like this disgusting cunt was speaking to her child. And I apologize for the crude language, but it really fucking pisses me off. And if I wasn't so frustrated because of the fact that I couldn't breathe in the theater, and that I wasted money on Godzilla, if it wasn't for that, I probably would have filmed them, and I would have said something, because I just was so sickened. Sick to my stomach. I'm still sick to my stomach even thinking about it. The fact that there's parents nowadays who actually have the nerve to yell at the top of their lungs, screaming profanity at their children, their little children, in public. And I don't even know what else they were doing, because I didn't even want to look at them. Because at first I thought it was like a homeless person who, like, maybe like a crazy homeless person who's going to come over and try to fuck with me. But yeah, that really sickened me. And I'm sick of seeing these bad parents, these disgusting, bad, evil, gross, if you can even call them people, these disgusting people in public treating their children like this. Children. Little children. I mean, if you don't like children so much, then close your damn legs, you fucking whore. Close your legs. Don't let the guy fuck you if you don't want fucking children. Okay, so that's I had to get that out of me, because that really pissed me off. I'm still pissed off. I'm so pissed off. It's not even funny. In fact, I'm thinking about that even more than the fucking movie that I just watched. That should show you really how dispensable and sort of like throwaway this movie is. But I do appreciate seeing Bob Odenkirk in this movie, because I mean, obviously we've all seen him for years as Saul, and he was way different than Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. So yeah, again, please like this long video, comment and subscribe. All that crap the YouTubers tell you to do. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon. I really hope I don't have to go to the movie theater again and listen to a disgusting bitch verbally abusing their child in public again, because next time I will interfere with them, and it's not going to be pretty, because I just can't stand when I see and hear stuff like that. It's basically like a female Jeffrey Epstein. is what I think of. So yeah, goodbye everybody.